Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Speaking of the Mouse podcast. I am Scoops as always. With me, I have Vorn, Rico, and Todd. And we have a very interesting episode today. We actually have a two-parter, which is the first time we will have been doing two things in an episode. It sounds like the easiest thing in the world, but might be difficult for us. Um, so to start out, as I think we teased in the last episode, Todd actually went to the Food and Wine Festival in Epcot very recently. So we're going to start out with Todd's review of the Food and Wine Festival, and then after that, we'll get into a little kind of a mini game, not really scored or anything, just a little mini challenge thing. So, Todd, I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, so being down there for about 4 days, I was greatly disappointed on a lot of things with the Food and Wine Festival this year. It felt like the options of food at each, I don't know if you want to call it kiosk, station, whatever you want to call it, stall. You really only had two options for like a main dish, two options for dessert, and then the rest of it was drinks. So as far as like if you're wanting like actual food, this felt um, a little less than in years past. But the ones that I really liked obviously would be the Belgian waffle. And Canada had really good options as well. They had a filet mignon, which is always good, and usually you can tell these whether these stalls are good based on the line. So you had the filet mignon, and then you had the cheddar bacon soup with a pretzel um, bread. So Canada was probably the best place to get food, and it was also if you didn't mind waiting, the longest line. The desserts that I really enjoyed, one of them was from America, which was the chocolate pudding cake with the bourbon caramel icing. Um, yeah, like honestly, like just going around, it was mostly just desserts that kind of sparked my interest, but the food was honestly, it felt more quick service than, actually being able to enjoy what each country could possibly, have options for to eat. Um, I mean, if we go through each country, Mexico was good. Uh, the the tostadas were good. Um, Looking at just different thing. Greece had a gyro, a lamb gyro that was really good. But like I said, just it kind of it wasn't as good as in years past. I was really sad about it. Now the drinks were fabulous. Um, America had a good moonshine, blueberry. Um, France had a French frozen Cosmo, and then has another drink called the Citron. It's just lemonade. It's like just frozen lemonade with vodka in it. But yeah, I mean, just it really, I don't know, just it was pretty disappointing this year, to be honest. I had a lot of fun, just wasn't wasn't a lot for me to like, I guess, send back and report back, I guess.
Yeah, from what I was seeing with other reviews and stuff like that, it does seem like it was a bit. It seems like it was a bit lackluster. I, from what I was seeing, they didn't do much with all the new Epcot space that was open. Like there was just a few like stands within the like commuter hall stuff like that. Um,
Yeah.
though I did see they had the new show, the this new like Encanto. I think it was Encanto like dance along show, which
Yeah. So I walked past it. I was standing by. It was good. The show was good. Um, but yeah, as the space, I mean, they could have. I think it was right next to like where you could get mac and cheese, um, inside, and so like the space that they had, they could have definitely put a couple stalls there to bring more people in. Um, but I think they really missed opportunities of um, like to really bring in the country's flavors that that maybe not normally that we could really get a hold of. I don't know. It just felt um it just felt like they rushed it instead of taking the time. And you're in Disney, like normally it didn't feel up to Disney standards.
Yeah, that very well could be with all the stuff they have planned all the stuff they have planned going on right now. That Food and Wine Festival was kind of put on the back burner, but I will say the Encanto show I did see actually was supposed to be ending like relatively soon, but got extended all the way until February. So at least they have that going for them, and I'll be able to report back on that at least because I'll be going in January, so I'll at least get to see that. Um, but yeah, that was unless you have anything else to say, Todd, about Food and Wine, or is that pretty much the gist of it?
That's pretty much the gist of it, sadly. I mean, I mean, to be fair, like, I mean, if you want desserts, then it's fine. Like, you don't miss anything. The desserts were at most places really good. Um, like funnel cake, awesome. Uh, you the beverages and stuff at like Japan where you can get some sake, some stuff like that, like awesome. But as far as like actual main food, like you just it just wasn't there this year.
Yeah, it's unfortunate to hear because I know Food and Wine Festival is usually super hype and has a lot of good food, but I mean, I guess you can't hit it out of the ballpark every year, but we'll see what next year has to bring for it. So that was Todd's review of the Food and Wine Festival. Maybe next time more of us will be able to go, but it's just at least we had one person there to report on it. Um, so with that out of the way, what we can do now is we can get to our next little mini game, which kind of in theme with what Disney has going on right now, with a lot of new additions, a lot of new retheming of different lands and stuff like that. Uh, we were all tasked with going into each park except Animal Kingdom, and I'll explain why in a second. And we were tasked to choose at least three rides, one ride that we would keep, one ride that we would retheme, and one ride that we would remove. So basically, if you've heard of uh, like the Kiss Mary Kill game that people used to play as kids and stuff like that, with like naming celebrities and stuff, it's basically that, but for parks. And the reason we're not doing Animal Kingdom is the selection of attractions is not as vast, and B, most of Animal Kingdom is going through a retheme as it is anyway. So a lot of it, if we were going to keep retheme or if we were going to remove or retheme anything, it might already be removed or it might already be getting rethemed. So we figured we'll keep Animal Kingdom off the list and we'll basically treat the other three parks like they're going through their own Animal Kingdom kind of refurb. So I think what we'll do here is we'll just go around the circle. So we'll start with me, then Voren, then Rico, then Todd. And we'll just go down the line of Magic Kingdom, Epcot, and Hollywood Studios, and we will just kind of give our spiels for all the keep for each keep, retheme, and remove. So starting with me and starting with or not, I almost said Animal Kingdom. We're excluding that. Starting with Magic Kingdom, my keep, which I think might be someone else's keep here, is going to be Pirates of the Caribbean. Um, if a little spoiler, but am I right in saying it might be someone else's?
Maybe.
All right,
You'll have to find out.
we'll see. All right, so my keep is Pirates of the Caribbean. It's a classic ride. There's not much that needs to get done, and plus like they're always updating it when it comes to like the new Pirates of the Caribbean movies and things of that nature. So it's just a classic. I feel like you don't need to touch it much, especially as the new parks and stuff opened up. Like they even opened up the Pirates of the Caribbean like kind of themed land overseas. So what else are you gonna do with that? My retheme, which might be a little controversial, is retheming Big Thunder Mountain. So I know
Wow.
that's also a classic, but with the incoming Cars Land kind of being themed a little bit around, like it's gonna kind of mesh in with Big Thunder. Um, I figured why not take Big Thunder and try to retheme it to maybe being like a Cars roller coaster or something of that nature. Like maybe theme it to like Tow Mater or whatever. Um, I don't necessarily know how you do this, but I know the new Cars Land will have the dueling, the racing ride, so you don't necessarily need another thrill Cars ride. But if you're going to kind of put it within or kind of theme Cars Land so it kind of meshes, then why not kind of just bring Cars to that ride as well? If not that, I still think the villains land will be put behind. It's going to be the Beyond Big Thunder Mountain expansion that everyone talked about. So maybe you could change it into a villains kind of a villains coaster, but I think Cars
Yzma.
would be easier. Well, we'll get to Yzma later on in this. I promise.
Oh
I
man.
promise we'll get to that in my selections, but basically I think Cars would just kind of work for that ride. And then Remove also might be a little controversial, and I have two here cuz they're interchangeable, and that's why I'm saying remove one of them. Either Dumbo or Aladdin Magic Carpets.
It's the same thing.
They are the same ride, just rethemes of each other and in separate places of the park. So I'm not saying get rid of both because they're an enjoyable
Keep
kid
Dumbo.
ride.
Keep Dumbo.
Yep, we'll keep Dumbo. We'll get rid of Aladdin. If we're not gonna get rid of any of those, one that just popped into mind, uh, we'll get rid of the Tomorrow Speedway. I think that is my third option for a remove is the Tomorrowland Speedway. The cars don't go fast. You're stuck on the track. The original Tomorrowland Speedway didn't have cars stuck on a track. It was like real go-karts. Granted, a lot less safety precautions were taken back then. I've
Yep.
seen videos of like people were literally jumping over the fences and running onto the ride to grab cars that were just abandoned there.
Yep.
So
Nice.
it's a little different, but Tomorrowland Speedway is just it's definitely like a more kiddie ride, which is fine. You need kiddie rides, but I just don't think it's an enjoyable kiddie ride as some of the other stuff they have. So we're keeping Pirates, we're retheming Big Thunder, and we'll say we'll get rid of either Aladdin Magic Carpets or we'll get rid of the Tomorrowland Speedway. Those are my takes. I will take any criticism at the end of the show.
Wow.
So-
Why till the end?
Yeah, might
He's
as
the
well.
host, of course.
You might as well hear all of my takes before I get criticized for everything. So now we'll move over to we'll move to Vorn.
All right. So we'll start at Magic Kingdom, and you guessed it, it's still my favorite ride, and I'm gonna keep Pirates of the Caribbean. It's the one I most look forward to. And I think overall, when it comes to theme and like type of ride it is, I think it's perfect. It is the perfect ride. That being said, we move on to the worst or most annoying ride that I would like to remove from Magic Kingdom, and it's a Small World. Woo! Terrible
Oh,
ride. Gets
let's
stuck in your
go.
head. I don't remember the last time I actually rode on it, and I said this was worth it. I mean, it is the most regrettable ride I've ever ridden on for Magic Kingdom. And then wanted to retheme. Now this was hard, and it's funny because my initial thoughts was also retheming the train ride to a Cars themed ride because I think that's a really good theme. So you hit it on the mark there, Spook. But I'm gonna go and retheme Space Mountain a little bit,
Oh.
and we're gonna do I would retheme it to Lilo and Stitch because I think he deserves
Oh,
the
man.
ride. He's already over there, and you could say hi to him, and I feel like he deserves the ride at this point. And with the retheme, you actually might be able to see inside the ride, which would be nice. I will go with the retheme there.
I did not expect Lilo and Stitch as the answer to the retheme of Space Mountain. I thought you were gonna go the same direction of like Hyperspace Mountain, where
Oh yeah.
where it's themed to like Star Wars. Uh,
It's
but I
funny. I thought about like a pod racing type deal too, but there's already so much Star Wars for Universal, and I was like, this is too much. There's gonna be, or not Universal, for Hollywood Studios. So I was just like, there's already too much Star Wars. We can't do another one.
Yeah, that makes sense. I do think Stitch deserves his representation back in Tomorrowland since they got rid of Stitch's Great Escape forever ago.
Yeah, and
yeah.
I think it's one of my favorite Disney movies for sure. So I'll never forget about him.
Yeah, he's
Right.
Stitch is one of my my pin collections. I have if I'm
Let's see,
going
ride the
character
rocket.
based.
It's already such an easy upgrade.
There you go. All right, we
All right,
will.
we'll move on to we'll do Epcot next.
Well, we got two
And-
more.
Oh
Go
yeah,
on.
yeah. You're right.
We
My
got to do. We'll go with Rico next. We'll just kind of go down the line of. They can't really see what I'm going off of because I'm not sharing my screen to them. But we're just kind of going in order of who's on the screen here. We'll go with Rico for Magic Kingdom.
Alrighty, so I'm not gonna be a basic bitch like both of you guys. So the ride I'm gonna keep, just because it's like, for some odd reason, I still love the movie to this day, is I'm keeping the Haunted Mansion. I think it's pretty good, you know. Like it's just very entertaining because there's always a little something going on over there. The ride that I would replace would definitely be the Monster Laugh House. It's a snoozer to me.
It's actually
And,
not bad.
I mean, yeah, but
No, I'm saying your opinion's not bad. Like of removing that ride.
yeah,
what
it's
ride
just,
again?
The laugh floor.
Oh yeah,
Monsters
yeah,
Inc. laugh floor.
yes.
so to kind of stick with the theme, I was actually thinking of replacing it and doing something like Monster University ride to it, like have like people go through one of those like you guys seen Monster University where you have the fraternities go against each other in a competition and kind of have like a roller coaster kind of similar to that where you're pretty much like participating in the actual competition. And that would be my take there.
That'd be interesting. So that would be your retheme.
Yes, that would be a retheme. Like it would still stay in the Monster University, like Monster Inc., but just like, okay, let's just bring it back down to Monster University because I feel like that movie is just like very, like, till this day I still enjoy watching it.
All right. So do you have one you would just outright remove, or
Uh,
you're kind of combining those two?
No, I'll just pretty much remove the Laugh House thing. You know, just actually have people have a more interactive ride instead of just sitting and watching.
All right. Sounds good to me. All right. Now last one for Magic Kingdom. We have Todd.
So I'm actually gonna keep Big Thunder the way it is. And the reason for that being you've already changed Splash Mountain. I'm not a huge fan of changing all three of the mountains, but you know, that's understandable, I guess. I do enjoy y'all's ideas for like the Cars ride there. But for me, I just have always enjoyed, you know, the wildest ride in the wilderness.
The
So,
way I saw it was there's already 2 train rides, so we have to get rid of one of them.
it's the other train ride.
The Seven
No way,
Dwarfs.
and the 7 Dwarves.
Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
Oh, yeah. I always forget that one's there, to be honest. I rode it for the first time this year and probably like well, I guess since it opened, because the line's always really long. But
Yep.
yeah, I would just keep Big Thunder. I'd retheme Monsters Laugh the laugh floor. Honestly, when it comes to retheming it though, I don't really know what I would retheme it to. I feel like they don't have an actual restaurant in that side, like actual restaurant, not just quick service. So I would probably put a restaurant in its place. I mean, you already have the sitting area, so you could put like like an actual restaurant there, and you close the restaurant that's right up, you know, as you cut through between Main Street and Tomorrowland. If you cut through there, you've already closed that off until like the fireworks show. So I mean, that's what I would do. I would just put a actual restaurant into Tomorrowland. I mean, you can do pretty much anything. You can make it you can put Stitch in there. You can put, now you bring in characters, for that area. I mean, that's to me that would just be easy, because you already added another ride, so you added Tron. So I mean, there's, how many rides does the Tomorrowland need? And you can have a people mover going through it, and then boom, there's food. And now you got people wanting to eat more. That's just my idea. And the one I would remove it is also It's a Small World. I hate the ride. Uh, I was forced to ride it as a child as punishment. So I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not even kidding. Like if I was a kid and I was bad, they would be like, okay, now we have to ride It's a Small World, and I would literally cry. So yeah, no, I would like to get rid of it. So
That
Alright.
explains a lot.
I hate that ride. But it gets stuck in your head and
It
doesn't leave.
it does. It definitely shows like the differences because like I'm fine with It's a Small World and I'm fine with it being stuck in my head a little bit because then I'll go on another ride and get a new song stuck in my head, just with the way my brain works. But I can see why people would want it removed. All right, that is Magic Kingdom. Now we'll move on to Epcot, and I feel like the keep, like as I start off, I feel like the keep for Epcot is very easy and basic. So we'll see if anyone else picked anything else, but Guardians of the Galaxy, uh, keeping that easily. Like it's one of the best rides in Disney by far right now, and to get rid of or even retheme that ride seems like a mistake, especially with the whole music theme of that ride. So keeping Guardians as it is. My retheme, it was actually a bit trickier because I would have immediately went to Test Track, but that's already going through a retheme, so it's not really needed. Um, I actually went with a retheme of Soren, and for the simple fact of for a retheme, just bring back Soren over California. Like that's all you need. They don't need to do anything big with it. Soaring over California is, in my opinion, a better version than Soaring around the world. Like they use the smells a lot better in Soaring over California, especially the orange groves when you're flying over that. So definitely, I think bringing back Soaring over California is all you need to do for a retheme. And then for a remove, I had a bit of trouble with it, but I just think any of the Circle Visions, uh, like the show in Canada or anything like that. I don't know many people that actually go to those. I, for one, have like never been to slash avoided going to them because they just don't seem all that interesting to me. So that's just where my head was at. Like, I didn't think any of the rides at Epcot really needed to be removed, except those attractions might be a little lackluster to say the least. All right.
I mean, I've been to some of them, and they're just kind of like a Discovery Channel version of like the countries.
Yeah, so like you already have so much culture going on with the countries that there's probably other ways they can like show that culture instead of what is basically a sit down movie with a circle theater. So that's my takes. We'll go over to Vorn.
Sounds good. Moving on to Epcot. It probably is unanimous because let's be honest, it's probably the best ride in Disney right now, and it's not close. Keeping Guardians of the Galaxy has been by far the most fun ride I've been on at Disney. Got very emotional getting off it. I was amazed by how cool it was. So definitely keeping that one. Removing this ride, I never thought I'd get sick on any ride like this, and it's Mission Space. This ride is a disaster. I never want to go on it ever again, and I would be excited to learn that it was removed from this park. Even I've done the light version and the heavy version, and both of them are not fun. It is just not a fun ride at all for me. So never thought I'd get sick on a ride, and this ride got me sick for a little bit. It was not good. And then my retheme, it might be lazy or a cop out, but it's the most obvious retheme, I think. And it's the Grand Fiesta Tour getting rethemed to Coco. I think we need a people mover to add to this because the longest rides are Remy and Frozen. So retheming it to Coco would add even more volume, and it's just the most obvious choice. No one really goes on this ride anymore, I don't think. And honestly, people probably forget that there's even a ride in Mexico. But if they rethemed it to Coco, it would be a big hit.
I will say, like that retheme does make sense. Although I would miss the Three Caballeros. When I went to Disney last with my family, we were starting to do the around the world stuff, and we walked into that pyramid, and the line for the Grand Fiesta Tour was almost back at the stairs. Like it was insanely long for the ride it is, and like that's the first time I've been to Disney, and I've been like, no, we won't do it because the line's too long.
Yeah. And I don't know how I didn't know that there was a ride in it until like I randomly walked in there for for the gift shop or whatever, and then like you realize there's a whole water ride there.
I
And
think
I feel like they don't even advertise it very well. Like unless you go into the pyramid, you don't know that there's a ride out there.
Yeah, I think that's true for most people, and I think the Grand Fiesta Tour was kind of an answer to have that dinner with a ride connected to it, because
Yes.
that's what Pirates of the Caribbean is in California. Is you're going through like a swamp, and as you're traveling through that to start, you're going by what is basically the New Orleans diner, like just the New Orleans restaurant, and they didn't have that in Disney. So when they made the Grand Fiesta Tour, they kind of did the same thing. It's almost the same layout as the New Orleans restaurant. So retheming
Interesting.
that would definitely make sense. All right, Rico.
All right. Well, my answer would probably have been the same as you two, but I actually haven't ridden the Guardians of the Galaxy ride yet, so I can't say it's my keep my right to keep. But my one ride that I want to keep forever is the Ratatouille one, for obvious biased reasons. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I could watch that every day and never get sick and tired of it. Now, for the ride that I would redo would actually be the same ride that you guys were talking about, the temple one, the Mexican one, except
And
instead
Fiesta
of
Tour.
the Fiesta Tour, which same thing. I was hungry. There was a restaurant in there, and then I was like, oh wait, what is right? Okay, cool. And I never heard of the Three Caballeros, so it was very interesting to see that. But yeah. So instead of Coco, actually, I would actually kind of go back to doing what you guys have mentioned and do like a Isma layer ride or something in there, just because it's dark, and I feel like it'd definitely be fun and interesting to have something like that over there. And another ride I actually would add there, which would probably be like in the Hawaii section of is there a Hawaii section?
Nope.
No? Okay, well. I have some kind of tropical.
There's
I
a
kinda-
Hawaii like food and beverage stand.
Yeah, so somewhere there, but it's kind of more like, you create your own little alien or something of some sort instead of a ride. So you're gonna make your own, like 626 experiment of some sort, like have like a plushie or like a Build-A-Bear kind of thing, for like kids to kind of like take home with them.
Nice, that's cool.
Yeah. All right. We will move on to Todd.
So I actually went, as you all went Guardians because I figured that was a pretty obvious pick. I went Keep Living with the Land. I just love that ride. I don't know why. To me, it's relaxing. It's you just and it's always like for me, it's always enjoyable to see like the different types of food that they're growing and/or the types of fish and stuff. And I always enjoy seeing the hoses laid down in Mickey ears. It's always fun. Um, but that would be my keep. My retheme is Mission Space. Not that it makes me sick, but I just think with it being next to Test Track and Guardians, that ride greatly suffers because no one really wants to ride it compared to the other two. Um, I don't really know what you would put in its place, but I mean, there's again plenty of options. You can even put Stitch there if you'd like. Again, but I don't know. I don't know. I would like to see Treasure Planet. It is a Disney movie, but again, it's not one of the liked, I guess, favorited Disney movies. The remove I have is into Imagination. I I don't know. I'm just not a huge fan of it.
Isn't that Spook's thing?
Oh, is
Breaks
it?
his heart.
My bad. Sorry, Spooks, but
I
it's not my thing. It's like that's it.
I don't think Discord picked it up, but there was a very audible inhale exhale on my end when you just said Journey. Like don't get me wrong, I understand it.
It's just not my thing.
I am aware that it is not a favorite attraction. I
think it's a walk on every single time I go.
It's pretty much a walk on every time. The last time I went, it actually wasn't, and I was severely shocked. But like I am aware that one of my favorite attractions is kind of lower on the tier list, as some may say. So I'm not entirely surprised. I think if it was in its original theming of just Journey into Imagination, not Journey to Imagination with Figment, it seemed like that was a much better attraction, and it was actually at the time, even though Epcot now has a lot of heavy hitters, at the time it was a top tier attraction. So I would love to see if they I could have put that in my retheme, just bringing it back to its old state, but I still like the ride as it is. So.
Yeah, I'm like I said, it's just not my
Yeah.
type of ride. So I mean, that would be the one. And I feel like with it being over there with the sea and the land, I think I don't know. I just feel like that whole area is just if you like slow rides or just kind of relaxing, all three of them are fine. But for me, I think I prefer this, the Nemo ride and the land living with the land over Journey to Imagination. So I just figured that one was the odd one out.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Now
Sorry,
with that painful note, we'll move on to we'll move on to Hollywood Studios.
And he holds back his tears.
Yeah, as I hold back. So this is another probably basic one. I do think there might be some different options here, but I think what is one of the best rides at Hollywood Studios, I'm keeping Rise of the Resistance.
Oh, motherfucker.
I think we could share. Don't worry. I just think it's one of the best rides. Best rides in Hollywood Studios. I know there's some people that aren't necessarily a fan of it, and there's a lot that could be better with it, especially since I know there are some ride effects that have been turned off since its initial conception, just due to them not working well. So they just went to B mode for that stuff permanently. But I do think Rise is one of the best rides in Hollywood Studios among a bunch of good rides. My retheme might actually be a little surprising to some. I chose Rock and Roller Coaster, and it's not because I don't like the ride in its current iteration. I think it's great in its current iteration, but the ride goes down for maintenance so much, and every time that it's down for maintenance, it always appears online. Is it down for licensing agreement issues and things of that nature? Have they lost the rights to the songs and the band and everything? And I just think it's definitely not going down because of those issues. It's going down because of maintenance issues. But just so we can stop hearing about, is it going to be rethemed? Might as well just retheme it ourselves. And I have two options for that. And the first one is retheming it to a Goofy movie and using Max Power or Powerline Eye to Eye as the song. It is it is a kind of bigger like rock song, if that makes sense. It's not really rock, but I think it would fit the ride as long as you retheme it properly to theme it to the song Eye to Eye from the Goofy movie. The other one, which I alluded to back in my Magic Kingdom one, retheming it to Yzma's Coaster. I think this would fit where it is because they are currently going to be retheming the Cars show that the Lightning McQueen Racing Academy. They're going to be retheming it to a villain show anyway, and I think putting a villain's roller coaster next to the villain show would just make sense. And I think Yzma and the pull the lever scene is one of the best examples of a roller coaster within Disney films as it is. So I think it's an easy no-brainer. And then plus you already have the infrastructure to even put some loops in there because you do go upside down. And I'm pretty sure there were some upside down portions in that roller coaster in the movie.
2 of them.
Yep. So I would just fit. My remove, I think was actually I had something else here, but swapped it right before we started recording. Originally, I had the alien swirling saucers. It's just another spinning ride. It's not really that interesting. If people get dizzy and sick, motion sick, they're probably not going to go on it. But I actually changed it to something I completely forgot about until recently. I changed it to the Indy Stunt Show Spectacular. Indiana Jones is going to be put into Animal Kingdom as it is. We don't need Indiana Jones in 2 parks, in my opinion. And plus, the Stunt Show Spectacular has been going on for a while since Disney kind of got the licensing for Indiana Jones. And so it's just becoming old and jaded at this point. So I think it is probably the best move to just get rid of the stunt show. You have Fantasmic if you want a show later in the day. You have the Frozen sing along if you need a show. So there are options. Just get rid of the stunt spectacular. It's not as good as it used to be. It's outdated. It's jaded. That's just my opinion. I'm gonna move it to Vorn before I get yelled at.
Definitely not gonna take
Wow.
yells from me. When it comes to keeping, I have a couple things why I want to keep this one, but I'm gonna go with Tower of Terror. When it comes to theme,
What?
beginning of the ride, everything about it just fits I keep saying Universal Hollywood Studios so much. It's a classic ride. I know the line is not always great when it comes to it, but the ride itself and when it comes to theming is just perfect. If anyone was there 2 years ago, they also had a light show on it. I think it was called the Beacon of Light.
Yes.
Where they put where they were dancing at the top of the hotel when there was music on Hollywood Boulevard. And when it comes to like the vibes of Hollywood Studios at night when this was on, it was something else. It was really nice to just get some ice cream, sit on Hollywood Boulevard, listen to the Tower of Terror music, and it was a great time. So I'm keeping Tower of Terror. It is a staple of the park. You can't get rid of it. To remove, I do agree with Spook. I also just don't like the movies either. Hot take, and it's Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular. I saw it once. It didn't really wow me or anything like that. Um, and it's just something. If it got removed, I wouldn't care, and I wouldn't change anything about the park. And you also they're adding Indiana Jones to Magic Kingdom. Is that right?
Animal.
Animal Kingdom.
It's what dinosaur is becoming
Right.
is the
Yeah,
Indiana
so
Jones
with that going to Animal Kingdom, there's no reason for this to be at Hollywood Studios anymore. And my fun hot take for retheming is going to be the Rock and Roller Coaster. Our generation doesn't really listen to Aerosmith anymore.
Easy.
Yo, this guy.
Easy.
And you know what we do listen to? Kanye West.
Oh my
And we're
god.
retheming it to Kanye West driving through the streets of Chicago, listening to flashing lights. I think that would be hilarious and an amazing retheme to Rock and Roller
Nice.
Coaster.
You gotta toe a line there if you're going Kanye. You gotta toe a line of after a certain year you kind of cut it off.
Yeah, like I'm gonna have to be
Well,
honest
that's why
with
you
you.
go with the old school song.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to be honest with you though. Like that's a tough retheme. Just based off the fact language. I mean, I don't think Disney's gonna allow that to slide into parks. Uh, that's
Yeah, and
That's
and saying no one in our generation listens to
Listen.
Aerosmith is.
I went to the concert.
I was gonna say it's
2 years
it's
ago.
a swing and a miss sitting in this chat because I listen to Aerosmith.
Yeah.
I don't keep up with them, but I listen to Aerosmith. Todd is a big fan of Aerosmith. Rico, from what it seems like with his reactions,
Yeah, I
is
think he
a
still
fan of
got a few
Aerosmith.
hits.
Well, I'm
Uh,
glad you guys enjoy them.
But
Yeah, sorry. Sorry, Born.
either way, I like how I'm surprised that we're on the same page of at least retheming Rock and Roller Coaster. If we're gonna keep getting teased that it's getting rethemed and then it just comes back, why not do it? Just
Right.
just pull the trigger.
It is a great ride, though.
Yes.
I have a lot of fun on it. And it's funny because when I first went on it, I didn't know what I was getting myself into.
Same.
And then you get into the line queue, and you're just like, oh, this is like a roller coaster, because you start seeing the signs that are like, this ride goes upside down. You're like, what the heck am I getting myself into? So
Yeah.
it was a fun little thing, and I truly shocked me how fun the ride was. It was great.
That ride was the first ride I've ever been on that went upside down because unlike other people, I didn't read the signs that it went upside
Yeah.
down and didn't know. But all I know is when you get to the certain part of the line where you're behind that gate where it takes off, as a kid who's already more nervous as it is when getting on new rides, seeing it just take off like the 0 to 60.
Yeah.
If you wanted someone's anxiety to go through the roof, that's how you do it. I've seen more times than not on that ride, people get to that gate part, and I think every time I've been on it, someone has gotten out of line at that point. Because when you think Disney, you think, oh, calm rides, the roller coasters aren't that intense, and then you get to Rock and Roller Coaster, and it's like, this isn't Disney. So it's definitely a great ride. I just wish it was open more. So now we'll move over to Rico.
Okay, thank. Guys are making me think twice about this now. All right. Well, the ride I would keep. It's already been pointed out. I would definitely keep the Rise of the Resistance. It's just, I love the people there. That's the one thing that's very underrated. It's just the people there really take their acting serious, and it's just like I try to crack some jokes. Sometimes I'll get some of them to break, but it's fun. Ride I would get rid of. I actually am not gonna go with the Rock and Roller Coaster because I love Aerosmith. But the ride I'd probably get rid of is the Mickey and Minnie Railway. Runaway. I've never been on it before, but just yeah, it's just it's whatever to me.
That's
It-
crazy.
It is hard to get rid of a ride that you'd never been on, but the only way I agree with that is
You
if
have to hear the song.
yeah. So once,
Otherwise, it doesn't make sense.
yes. The only way I would agree with that is if you said you're retheming it back to the Great Movie Ride, because I miss that ride so much. But
Yeah. That ride is
it just kind of shows how good the rides are at Hollywood Studios now when Rico goes for something he just hasn't been on yet. Like everything else isn't worth getting rid of to him that he's been on.
I mean, that doesn't necessarily true. I have like just everybody else. You only got a limited time, and like all these rides have long ass lines. It's like I need to go to that like very popular ride to say, yeah, I've been to it. Yeah, it's good. It's worth it. But what would we do it? I mean, what I would retheme it to is actually The Incredibles. So make it into
Ooh.
like a roller coaster where you're actually traveling through the Underminer's lair, and has like a shooting portion where like you're shooting his henchmen, and get a good glance of Mrs. Incredible, of course.
Oh my
And
gosh. Oh my god.
and yeah, like it's just The Incredibles. It just happened to like it's one of those movies that just like even though it came back for like a second movie, it's like oh no, it's still good. They haven't killed it.
No, it's coming back for a third now. So that's it's sticking around. I'm actually very happy about that, and I would like to see some Incredibles love at the parks, except for right now it's only the Contemporary Resort that kind of shows that shows the Incredibles any love.
They're gonna have Jack a little older.
Yep. All right. Last but not least, we have Todd for Hollywood Studios.
So I'm keeping Rock and Roller Coaster.
Yep.
I listened to Aerosmith. I love Aerosmith. So yeah, I'm keeping that. That to me is it's one of my favorite roller coasters. Um, I just enjoy it. Retheming the Beauty and the Beast live stage. To be honest, I always forget that that thing's even there. Um, and I just feel like it's in a bad spot. And I don't ever actually know if it does it actually still do its show, because if not, then definitely need to retheme it. Um, but I I mean, I guess you can put another show in there. Again, this is kind of an I mean, you don't need food in Hollywood studios. Um, but I think you could do something with the space instead of having I mean, you have so many like different shows. I mean, I honestly think Hollywood Studios has too many stage shows. I mean, you could get rid of this one. You can get rid of Indiana Jones. I don't think anyone would notice either one of them being gone. Um, the ride that I would remove. This could get me a little yelled at, but it's okay. Muppet Vision 3D.
You're going there.
Nah.
You're going there again with me, aren't you? You're going there again with me.
No, hang on. I actually have a good reason,
All
and
right.
it's mostly because of the location. It's situated in between Star Tours and the Star Wars land. I just think it's in a terrible spot. If you were to now, if you ask my opinion, I think you could move Muppet 3D where the Beauty and the Beast live stage is, and I think it would be fine. But I just think there's never anyone there, for me. So I just think because of the location, like I always forget that what is it, Mama Melrose's Italian uh
Yes.
yeah, back there. It's normally never that I've never seen it that busy. I just think that that little corner needs to be rethemed. A lot of it well, I guess I couldn't switch the Beauty and the Beast live stage to be removed, and then move Muppet Vision 3D to be rethemed, and I think it'd be fine because I just think that whole section back there needs to be rethemed.
Yeah.
Because once you get to Star Tours, it's basically everyone's like Star Wars. So I mean, you could just retheme all that to be like mostly like a Star Wars thing as well. So
Yeah, that I mean, it makes sense. It is kind of misplaced at this point. I will say, as I am, I am now apparently the Disney history buff right now. Um, one big reason that there is only the Muppet Vision 3D in that Muppet Courtyard, is because originally Walt Disney and Jim Henson or like the Disney company and Jim Henson were working out a deal to secure the rights to the Muppets. Uh, and then unfortunately, Jim Henson passed away before they could get any signatures because they did come to a deal. They came to an agreement, and they were going to get the licensing for the Muppets, and the Muppets Courtyard was going to have a much bigger kind of scope to it, a
yeah,
much bigger presence. And when Jim Henson passed away, Jim Henson's estate actually kind of went back on it and didn't give them the licensing, but only gave them permission for the Muppet Vision 3D because it was already in production, it was already being worked on, so they were stuck with just that until Disney got the licensing to the Muppets way later, and the courtyard kind of was already where it was because Pizza Rizzo used to be the Pizza Planet.
Yep.
So the courtyard kind of has had its fair share of issues, and then they added the Star Wars land, which kind of put it even more in a awkward spot. So I do think moving it would be better. It's definitely kind of harder to do that, but maybe even just swapping Star Tours and Muppet Vision, not even necessarily moving it too far.
Right.
Because I know they were talking like one of the rumors was taking over Muppet Courtyard and having that become the Monsters Inc. land. But then that puts the Monsters Inc. land in a weird spot with that Star Tours, then Monsters Inc. land, then the Star Wars land.
Yeah.
So I think if you're going to retheme that courtyard to anything, it has to be probably Star Wars related. So it kind of bridges that gap. But
Yeah, I just looking like I said, just looking at like where it's located is just in a bad spot. People don't necessarily care about the Muppets like they used to. So
yeah, it's unfortunate, but I understand it. So after Todd has now broken my heart twice in Epcot and Hollywood Studios, that will do it for us. Feel free to berate us in the comments about how bad our takes were. Let us know what you would keep, what you would retheme, what you would remove. If you have any ideas for Animal Kingdom where we were struggling, so we just removed it, feel free to put those as well. But the park's going through its own retheme already, so why us to do it when Disney's already getting to work on that? So I hope you all enjoyed this episode. Feel free to like and subscribe, and you could also hit that bell to be notified when we upload any future episodes. So with that, I've been Scoops with Vorn, Rico, and Todd, and we'll see you all next episode.
We're gonna,
Good night. Thanks for listening.
peace.